Welcome to the You Can Man podcast, episode 88. I'm Josh.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Dave.
And on this week's episode, You Can Ma'am with Molly Sellers.
All right, guys, welcome back to the You Can Man podcast, where we believe what one man can do, you can do as well with the proper know-how and a little help from your friends. You know, we always say what one man can do, but what we really mean is like the common man. Because this week, You Can Man listeners, we have our very first female guest ever, Mrs. Molly Sellers. Say hello.
Hello, guys.
She broke ground by being the first female voice
This
on the
is
podcast
true.
with a question on an earlier episode.
That's right.
that was you.
Right,
All
yeah.
right.
And
Wow.
now she's here.
That's right. So Molly is a local interior designer, and we're going to do a show on interior design. And she's going to be talking to us about her career and maybe give us some design tips and stuff and just talk about how she got started. And so we're just going to be just casual conversation with Molly here. So she's got a lot to bring to the table. And I love Molly's work, and I love that she is someone that exhibits the You Can Man spirit, because her and her husband do lots of projects at their own house. And she's part of our Facebook group as well. And so we thought that she would be the perfect first female guest. We're all about ladies here as well as the men. So, guys, what has been going on this week?
Dave and I got to do something very cool 2 days ago, I guess. Or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Okay, so we were invited to
It's the coolest thing I've ever done.
It was this batting practice experience at Truist Park. And if you don't know what Truist Park is, it's the former SunTrust Park, but it is the home of the Atlanta Braves. So we got to take batting practice on a major league field.
It's one of the good things, I feel like, to come out of the whole pandemic, because I had read about this at other ballparks around the U.S. Like at Fenway, they do this, but the way they described it there, it's like an assembly line. Okay, so you just stand in line until it's your turn to take your swings, and then you're done. Well, we had 45 minutes, like 8 of our friends. I guess seven of my friends.
So when I looked at the pictures, it looked like you guys were the
We
only
had
Yes.
45 minutes by ourselves on the field,
On
like
the
8 of
whole
us.
Wow.
Yeah, so you go up there, you take your swings, and everybody's out in the field, like shagging flies, and it was a great time.
Yeah, it was really, it was too much to take in. It was 45 minutes goes by real quick, but man, it was just cool. I was in awe because I'm old and I'm a dad now. I kept kneeling down on the grass and like feeling it and like trying to measure how, because it's carpet.
Yeah,
It is
Josh
carpet
stopped me.
grass.
He was like, "Hey, man, look at this grass." I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty sweet."
Yeah, the stadium, being in the stadium, like I wasn't that in awe. But
It is
then I look at the
carpet.
grass, I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's
this
carpet.
is
Molly,
amazing.
you're a Braves fan, right?
This year, yeah.
Obviously.
You know,
got to.
I've never been
Kind of a
more
bad year to become one.
into baseball until this year and watching
Okay.
the last
Look, anybody would have fun.
games,
Anybody
but-
would have fun out there. It was a good time.
Yep.
But we live like 10 minutes from
That's
the
right.
stadium, so we like going up there.
a good time.
Yeah, if you have the opportunity and you're semi into baseball, do it next time it comes around because, man, it was cool.
It was a ton of fun. I was a little bit worried about it because it's been, I don't know, maybe like 30 or 35 years since I've played baseball. I did have
That's all.
I did have an illustrious men's softball career that spanned like 10 years, but I was worried about like actually hitting the ball, right? So Josh and I, we went to the batting cage. It didn't go well. But then something happened. Like, man, I just turned it on when I got to Truist Park and was
I was
performing
impressed.
much better.
I was impressed with the overall skills of the group because I like played baseball through high school, so at least into 18 years old, and then I played men's league baseball after that. So I'd had some solid.
out, everybody.
Well, I'd had some solid baseball skills, and hitting a baseball it's the hardest thing in sports.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Now this machine was only firing at like 65 miles an hour. But I was impressed. Most of the guys were taking some good hacks. And
How far
making
did you
some
get
contact.
from home run?
Oh, probably 60 feet. I mean, the 3 guys that hit the ball the furthest probably hit it in the 300 to 315 feet range. Now, right down the line in left field is 335, and down the right field line is 325. So if you're hitting it right down the line, that's close. But the rest of the fence is huge. It's like 385, 400 in center. It's a big boy field.
Yeah, we weren't close. Nobody was close.
No,
Okay.
nobody made anyone think they were going to hit a home run.
Gotcha. This episode will drop after Thanksgiving, but I wanted to talk about baking a turkey. Have any of you guys done this?
never.
Molly, have you done this?
I do not cook.
Okay.
Very nice. Love it.
All
She's made
right.
a stand.
I've never
Okay.
made a turkey. I've participated.
You
like
see
in-
how I wasn't just assuming because you're a
Yeah,
woman
well,
that
you
you
asked.
had
That's
done
fair.
As
You
our
know.
first woman guest, how do you cook a turkey?
I don't. That's how.
Fair enough. I did last year. I fried my first one. I think we talked about it.
Yes.
Last year.
We have
Okay.
talked about it. I've assisted in frying a turkey. I've never cooked one though. on my
Okay,
own.
because this is going to be my first time, and I was
wow.
just going to do it in the oven, but then
That's rookie.
another
Yeah.
a mutual friend of ours, Matt, who's one of our, he was probably like our first guest, I think, way back when we talked about like plumbing issues or something. But he's
Okay.
got a really nice smoker, which apparently fits more than one turkey.
That's the best turkey I've
yeah.
ever had. Is a
Traeger?
smoked turkey.
Yes, he has a Traeger grill.
He was
And-
texting my husband about
Okay.
about turkey tips.
Nice.
So-
Well, his wife, I was talking to her, and she just kind of volunteered their smoker because she's like, "Oh yeah, we can fit more than one in there.
Oh,
Just do
wow.
Are
that."
you just gonna like swing by and drop it in?
I got the approval, the green light from him, so I think I'm going to
Dude.
use the smoker.
That you're on easy street with that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
automatic for you. Good
Yeah,
job.
I'm going to go hang out with him. You
yeah.
know, just
Drink his beer.
yeah, just chill and I don't know, watch the smoker.
Well, and that's half the fun. It's
Yeah.
just like watching
Yeah.
Right.
it
Yeah.
happen.
yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I feel like a Traeger grill has like some auto everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
kind
like
of
an
thing.
app that controls the temperature.
Yes, and I think it just drops in the
runs
the,
itself.
the pellets or something.
Set it and
Yeah.
forget it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I feel like if you're smoking meat, I feel like there should be some sort of thing you got to do. you
Yeah, there
know?
shouldn't
Like,
be an app involved.
Yeah.
I don't think, but whatever.
I
There's
don't know.
there's definitely
Purists wouldn't
some-
do it. But
Yeah, my husband has a big green egg, and
Okay.
he's very loyal to that. But he also
Well, that's
is
the two
playing
camps,
around.
right? There's two camps. There's Big Green Egg, and then there's
Yeah,
Traeger,
and then there's
right?
the pellet smokers, and he's kind of toying with the idea of getting a pellet smoker in addition to his big green egg.
Oh,
Because
wow.
apparently,
Great.
obviously, you need two.
Gotta have two,
Right.
100%.
So, but he's the cook, so that's why I'm okay with it. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would be interested in getting a Traeger because I got to get a new grill anyways. But I don't think it runs off like it's not like a normal
It's not
grill.
a
gotta get, like,
traditional
wood
grill.
chips.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. I got to research. You know?
well,
Check it out.
let me know how that turkey is because that sounds good.
Okay.
I liked frying a turkey because it was quick.
Frying a turkey is definitely tastier. Like
Yeah, I've always
smoked
liked
turkey is good, but it's
I don't
not
know, man.
as good.
I think the smoked turkey is the best I've ever had.
I don't complain much about turkey unless it's super dry. So I don't discriminate too much.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to talking and interviewing Molly here about her interior design work and all of the projects that she has going on in her own home. And she's recently started, well, I guess it's been a while now, but a new Instagram account that's kind of documenting all of the projects that she's been working on. But Molly, tell us about how you got started in interior design. What made you want to do that? What's your inspiration behind it? And just your background, because you worked for like a company for a while and then you kind of went out on your own. And talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what though? Hold on, guys.
Scale.
we just forgot. Where are you on the DIY scale, Molly? We almost forgot.
Oh.
1 to 10. Where's you? I mean, I'm going to say you're kind of further up there because you do a lot of
Yeah.
projects around your house. No.
I don't know about that. What is like a 1? What in
A
10?
1 is
like,
Josh.
Is
a 10
Dave.
A 1 is Josh. A 10 is Dave. Obviously.
Obviously.
1 is I've never picked up a hammer in my entire life, and I wouldn't even know what to do with it. And
10 is you've built your own house.
10 is like I
Definitely not
just
that.
took out 3 load-bearing walls in my house in one day.
Maybe like a happy middle, like a 6.
Okay. What would you
Decent.
say is the most DIY job you've done?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, like putting tile down.
Okay,
a good- that's a
that's
good
a
deal.
good one.
That's not easy.
I haven't actually really done that.
I've never
honestly.
done
Yeah.
a tile job.
I did it
I've
once.
helped people do it, but I've never been like start to finish all me.
It feels like something you do once and then you're like, oh, I'm going to pay somebody to do this next
That's
time.
exactly
Yeah.
what I did.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, how is that a UCAN man spirit?
Yeah, I
guys?
know.
I mean, come on now.
Well, because the
proud
pros
of
do
it.
it. They do it so well.
I think it's also important to know your limits.
Yeah.
And
This is true.
and
The
knowing
older-
when you should just pay somebody
The
to do it.
older I get, the more kids that are in my house, the less time I have. That's when it becomes necessary
Yeah.
to pay others.
Yeah, these are important questions to consider
Yeah.
with our subject matter. And we've talked about this before. That's interesting we bring it up because, I've said like I will always change my own oil in any of my cars, even if I make like $1 million, I'm still going to change my
And I
oil.
say I'll never do it again on my own.
That's
change my
crazy.
own oil.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe I haven't done tile, but I'm going to be doing it because I'm going to be ripping out my bathrooms before too long here. But anyways, Molly, let's get back to your story here. So what really drew you into interior design, and how did you get started?
I mean, I always was kind of interested in it. I think when I was like trying to figure out what to do when I was in college, I didn't really think interior design could provide a living, so I didn't pursue it. I thought an art degree would be stupid.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Chattahoochee Tech.
Okay.
There's
And they,
like-
they have like a dedicated interior design
they
program?
do, yeah.
I did
It's like
not
one
know
of their
that.
trade programs.
Fun
Okay.
fact: my wife went to college and declared to her parents that she was going to be an interior designer, and her dad said no.
Really?
He's like, "You're getting a business degree."
I did not know
That's,
that.
Straight up.
that's exactly what people told me. Like my aunt was like, she supported me being an interior designer, but she was like, just get a business degree. There's no point.
Yeah, I would have been like, as your aunt, I don't want to support you for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And it's a valid concern, but yeah, no, now being on the other side of it, I'm like, it's actually, you learn a lot of valuable information, learning how to do all the programs like Revit and AutoCAD, even like SketchUp. I mean, granted, things are very different now. So, I was still learning like drafting and stuff when I was in school. But so I went to school eventually after a scenic route of college, that I call it.
We kind of all did that around this table.
Talking to
After
friends,
I
yeah.
kind of just figured my life out, I went back to school, did interior design.
I think they call that a gap year now.
Sure.
Or for Josh, a gap decade.
Exactly. Yeah, gap 5 years.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. So I studied that. And then while I was in school, I worked for a general contractor it was a she, which was awesome. All general contractors should be women.
The projects would probably get done a lot quicker.
And they were a
think.
cleaner. And yeah, she worked on like multi-million-dollar homes in Buckhead.
Wow.
And they were stunning. She had an interior design degree, but wanted to be a general contractor.
Okay.
So she was awesome. So I worked for her, and then I also worked for a visual stylist. So I kind of got the both ends of the spectrum. But then when I graduated, I started working at a design firm that did multifamily interior design. So we were doing like apartment leasing spaces, and then also pulling like unit finishes for all the apartments and stuff.
So you were designing like the first impression that people were going to an apartment and they walk into the leasing office and they're trying to wow them with all the nice stuff that they have.
Yes.
And so you design those.
Well, and then all the amenities too, like they have the club room that I personally would never
okay.
use, but people do, I guess.
Gotcha.
And then like dog washes, which are
Dog washes?
necessary.
It's the new thing.
Yeah.
And,
Really?
And like these multifamilies, they'll have these dog washes.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Bike shops, that's another thing they have.
Yeah?
It's just random. Yeah. They're amenities, So we designed those spaces, and then we also did single family housing. So we did a lot of model home merchandising. So doing a lot of the like more decorating kind of stuff on that end. But I kind of liked the more like construction side of everything.
Okay. And then you kind of stepped out of that and then started doing stuff on your own for a little while. And then you had a child. And
Yes.
so you kind of switched to doing the full-time at home mom stuff, but you're still working with clients now currently. Okay, so what styles do you feel like that you gravitate towards? So we've got a lot of, we got the Joanna Gaines stuff still around.
Shabby chic.
I mean, Dave, I think that ended like a decade ago.
You guys ever seen Trading Spaces?
Yeah.
Wow. That's still on. though.
I get you. No,
it is.
Well, didn't they make a comeback though?
They
no?
did. They redid
Yeah.
it. Vern came back,
I
didn't
was
he?
making
Okay.
an old throwback.
Yes, of course.
We all got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, when we think about, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of listeners and they think about interior design. And I mean, my mind goes to like the Joanna Gaines stuff and you just kind of think of like the trends and stuff like that. But, you try to approach jobs because I've talked to you about this before or seen on your Instagram stuff. You try to accommodate whatever your client is into. And I get that. And that's what you should do as an interior designer. But what do you really like? What's your personal style? Can you describe that? Or do you just like a bunch of different stuff?
I mean, I like everything for the most part. I don't really love modern farmhouse. So
So no shiplap in your house whatsoever.
not currently, no.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. I mean, I like it all. The kind of term, I'm like eclectic. I think that's the like term you kind of
Okay.
use when you like everything.
Gotcha.
I appreciate all styles. I think that's
There you
a
go.
better way to say it. But in my own home, we have our house was built in like 92, fairly traditional style. So that's kind of the way that I kind of start my design process is going with like the style and the architecture of the home. So my old house was more like mid-century modern. It was built in the 60s. So it's kind of hard to like transition from that to our new house. So I kind of have a blend of traditional, modern going
Okay.
on.
And so I got to see your house, I guess right before you guys closed on it, maybe.
Yes.
And I was maybe going to help with like taking out some load bearing walls, but then I was like, this is a massive, massive load bearing wall that
Yes.
you're having to take out. And so I was like, I'm going to have to pass. But you had a vision with that. And so
Yeah.
to let our listeners know, Molly took out probably the biggest wall on that that level of the house.
Yeah.
It had to have
It was
been.
like probably like 13, 14 feet.
Yeah.
say.
Was that
Yeah.
it? It seemed like it was bigger than that, but
Maybe a little more, but yeah.
yeah. And then you closed off a wall and all this stuff. Needless to say, I'm just saying that you had a vision going into how you were rearranging the space. And, that goes to show that you've got this incredible eye to do that. But I was going to say also that you're probably attracted more towards lots of light. We could at least say that.
Yes.
Because I often wonder that, like we look at older houses, they got a lot smaller windows, like older ranches, especially in our area. And a lot of these homes, if they haven't been updated, they're just so dark. Yeah. Do you think that will ever go back to any of that like closed up, like where people are saying, no, actually, I don't want to open up the space. I don't want the open floor plan, because my wife and I have been putting doors back where we originally
quarantine.
Because we had to make an office for her, but even just other reasons, because we've even thought about putting this doorway back that leads down to our bedrooms on the hallway.
Yeah.
That we took out. It was there when we bought the house, right? And we have a 1964 ranch, but we're thinking about putting it back. Anyways, do you see any trends in not continuing that whole open floor plan and let's bring in lots of light? Are people going back to let's close it up and have more like cozy spaces?
I think so. I mean, I think because of being quarantined together, we're all kind of like looking for our own little corner,
Okay.
if you have a family. But I mean, I think if anything too, like I feel like a trend would maybe be more like bringing like the outdoors in and having more like outdoor spaces and kind of having more of like an extension of the house outside. I feel like that's probably, I don't feel like people are gonna be closing in their open concept plans just yet. Because I feel like that's more of like a thing for entertaining and such, which we can still do now, but in small quantities.
That's a good point, because I see people now, like everybody I feel like is decking out their patio, right? You see these outdoor bars and everybody's got a TV out there. You have sound systems. And
that was not a thing.
It wasn't a thing, but it's a thing now. People are getting into it.
Yeah.
So I think it's because we're more of a I don't know, sedentary people. Because I think,
How dare
3
you.
decades, 4 decades ago, people were outside. Like they just went out more. They might have worked outside way more than we do now. And so they're like, I'm good. I'm good with the
Yeah, I'm going to go
outdoors.
inside.
I'll be inside where
Yeah.
the air conditioning is. And now that we're more sedentary, we're like, okay, we need sunlight or we're going to die here.
Yeah.
So
It's like we need to be outside, but we also need our TV out
Yeah,
here
you
with
gotta have
us.
the TV. Have to have a bar close by.
Yeah.
Yeah, how hilarious is that going to be though if that does become a trend where people are like, no, I don't want the open floor plan. So they're going to go in where
my
people have
gosh,
spent
yeah.
tens of thousands of dollars to put in these massive beams to take out these load bearing walls, and they're like, actually, I'm gonna want that wall back.
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. I think the entertaining space, at least for us, that's one thing that, I mean, we've opened up our whole space that's not that big to begin with, but we wish we had more entertaining space. That's like the only downside for our house is, so I don't know if that part would go away, like that main social space. But yeah, everything else, the offices and even maybe a dining room, to get back into a more intimate dining setting,
Yeah.
if you do entertain adults, at least,
Yeah.
it might be nice.
Well, and even
but-
for just like everyday life, like I'm wanting those like sight lines to see my daughter playing in the living room
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah, I'm like, I don't think that's going away just yet, but I can definitely see how people are wanting some more like private, closed off spaces.
Okay, so one thing, and I wanted to pick your brain about this. One thing we struggle with is we have all of these ideas. So this is for like the common homeowner person that moves into a new house maybe, and they just have 1,000 ideas. And you've actually consulted with us before, my family, so you know where we are. But we have an idea, 10 ideas for every room, and then we can't pull the trigger on anything. Like what would you advise for a person who has the blank canvas and has just been stalling on doing something because they want it to be absolutely right or absolutely perfect? Like, what are the small, like, first steps they can take
As far as like projects,
as far
tackle?
as interior design,
Interior design.
like interior design specifically?
Yeah.
Like how do we start filling this space?
Are you talking about like the best bang for your buck, or really just the first
where
place
to
that you start?
Yeah, like what's step one?
Are you-
Someone's
are you-
gonna do
like
this
blank
themselves.
slate. You're just
Yeah.
trying to figure out. I don't know. I mean, I would say like living in the space is going to make like the biggest impact, because I know there are a lot of things like in my own house. Like I'm a designer that now, like we've been there for almost 2 years. That I'm just now being like, man, I wish like I would have thought through that, or I'm changing things
Yeah.
that I originally. So like kind of living in the space and figuring
feel for
out
the
like
function
the
first.
function,
Okay.
yeah. And I mean, like for me, function is like number one.
Okay.
And
Is 6 years enough?
I don't know. Y'all keep adding kids, so just
true.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm the worst about that. I've been in my house for 5 years. I haven't changed the wall colors, and I hate the wall. Like I hate the colors in the house, so I get that.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
So
know. I mean,
functionality is
I'd
number
say
one.
stick with function and what is going to work best for you. But then, like paint is like an easy and somewhat like inexpensive way to start.
And rewarding.
Now, here
Yeah.
you go. Should you choose your furniture first and then choose your paint color, or should you choose your paint color and then work all your furniture around that? Or does it matter? Or is that a dumb question?
No,
don't know.
I mean, I would say base like your paint around your furniture.
Okay.
Paint's
I don't
easier
know.
to change later.
Yeah,
The
it's less
$2,000
expensive.
sectional is
Yeah,
harder to. Yeah.
Just paint everything white, and then you're good, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
that's the way to start, and then you can kind of figure it out, and
Choose
you've
your own
already
color
got a
palette
primed
with
wall.
everything else,
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
what goes with everything.
Functionality, paint, furniture.
Yeah, and I thought you were kind of going with your question, Josh. What is like the little easy things that I could go ahead and start changing up because I can't commit to doing the whole like overhaul of this room? That's what I thought you were
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
going at.
that dovetails perfectly. Though.
You know,
Yeah.
so what are those little things that I could start with to get things going? Because
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Like, it seems insurmountable to do an entire room. I guess those building blocks really
Yeah.
of designing a room. And so when you're approaching a room that a client of yours wants to completely overhaul, I mean, there's probably aspects of stuff that they already have that you're probably working off of. Like, I want to keep this, I want to keep that.
Yeah.
So I would assume that's kind of like first steps. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what are some of those building blocks of like, these are the things that I need to start from and then kind of work my way out from?
Yeah. If you're working in like your living room per se, like obviously like your sofa, sectional, whatever, kind of figuring out your space planning and what works best for your family, and then kind of moving from there to like, I feel like window treatments are a huge thing that aren't always like prioritized, but I feel like they really like finish and complete a room. It's like,
It's the last thing I think of.
yeah, that's not surprising.
But they do take up a good amount of real estate as far as the like cubic square feet of the, not cubic square feet.
Cubic
What
square
am I trying to say?
The area.
Just
Yeah,
the
just-
area,
Yeah.
you know, what your eyes are seeing. Like
Yeah.
if you've got, and I mean, if you've got larger windows, especially, but even smaller windows, like what you're putting in front of those windows, you know, your eye is drawn to. So that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say those are probably kind of the basic. I kind of just, I don't know, I pull everything together and try to make it work.
Okay. And you're doing all the mood boards and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
okay, here's another question. Pinterest. Is it super annoying to you, or do you go to Pinterest a lot to look for inspiration, or do your clients, is it annoying when your clients send you all these Pinterest boards, or do you really enjoy that?
No, I'm not bothered by it. I really like using it because it is a good tool to save like links and everything. So
Right.
I've been doing some more like e-design projects with everything. With having a kid and then quarantine. So it's kind of a nice way to be able to link back to like, you know, here's some sofa options that I think will work good for you. I pinned just a bunch of these. It has all the links and everything there for you. But then like in the other aspect of like looking for things, I think it's helpful. I mean,
Yeah.
you're able to pinpoint your search or whatever. It's kind of like Facebook and Instagram with the algorithms and like
Right.
figuring out what you're looking for.
they
then
hone in on
Pinterest
you.
Well,
can
they-
like figure out what you're
Yeah.
thinking. So
Yeah. They keep showing me chocolate chip cookies. So that's what
that's
just
not wrong.
keeps coming
So-
on my feed. So I did like one search of chocolate chip cookies, and then it's just like, hey.
You just
Yeah, you have to
wanna look at
search
this?
never
carefully.
ending. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
watch your search.
So, what are some other blogs that you're into? So, I know that some of your work has been featured, I know, on apartmenttherapy.com. Was that correct? That was like a
Yes.
few years back.
Yeah.
Listeners that don't know, that is like one of a huge website. Now, it's not just like apartments. You may think like apartment therapy. That sounds weird. It's just all about interior design. They do a lot with smaller spaces. A lot of their stuff is that. However, it's all over the place. Like they have all kinds of stuff. So it's one of the kitchens that you designed, I think, was featured on Apartment Therapy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And Apartment Therapy covers a lot of different designers. And so you get a wide variety of a lot of different folks. And I know there's other blogs and stuff that other designers that you follow. And we would love to put those links in our show notes for our listeners to take a look at that so you can get us those afterwards. But as we wrap up, I wanted to talk about secondhand furniture and what are your thoughts on that? Is that your go-to? Because to me, that's a very you can man thing. If I can save some money on some things like that and, you know, refinish something, where are you at with that? Is that what you kind of prefer to do? Is that, you know, do you steer your clients that way, or is that kind of just what you personally do?
Oh yeah, 100%. At least for me personally, sometimes it's hard to recommend that for my clients because they may not have the time or energy to tackle the things
Right.
that I'm crazy enough to do. But yeah, for the most part, I feel like case goods, like tables and dressers and things like that are, you know, fairly simple to kind of refinish. I typically try to steer clear of like, you know, soft seating or anything like that. As I've recently learned, I'm not very good at reupholstering. or sewing. So
Hey, you can, man. You can, man.
I could, but I don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
So
That's a serious skill to take on.
it's not for the faint of heart. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta practice more. But yeah, so my go-tos I think are like I love Facebook Marketplace. Again, with like the algorithms, if you're like saving things you like and searching things, and Facebook figures out
Right.
what you like. And
Yeah, all I get are lawnmowers, used lawnmowers. Here you go, Dave. There's
Really?
another used lawnmower for you. I'm like, I'm good.
Well, we owned like
Yeah.
4 at one
I
time.
did own
so.
4 lawnmowers at one time.
Yeah, but I think it just goes along with the You Can Man spirit of buying things.
Well, new furniture is like thousands.
It is-
in a
it's-
lot of cases.
Yeah.
It is
Like,
Well,
thousands.
and not to mention the fact that you can find stuff that's way better built,
Yep.
that's super
Yeah.
old, like
Yep.
any kind of solid wood furniture, and refinishing that. I know we've had a lot of people post some stuff on our Facebook group about refinishing
Yeah.
furniture. So totally a You Can Man thing for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I know a lot of the stuff that you've done has been more like secondhand stuff and you've refinished and that sort of thing. And so we're going to, of course, link Molly's information. Like I said, she's got an Instagram account that is all about really only your house. Is that right?
yeah, for the
Yes.
most part. Mhm.
So you'll get to see you got a lot of before pictures, right? Yeah. You show, she goes all into that. Yeah. So I love that, you're into doing the secondhand stuff. I feel like whenever we have guests over to the house, I'm like, well, yeah, we bought that on Craigslist and we bought that on Facebook Marketplace. Oh, and that was given to us and that sort of thing. And so that's just kind of a You Can Man thing that
Yeah.
I'm all about doing. for
I don't
sure.
know that we might have one piece of like furniture that one of us originally owned.
It's kinda weird,
Everything
like,
else is second.
When you're in college and, shortly after college, everything's from IKEA. And then after that, you're buying everything secondhand. It just kind of
Yeah.
seems like it's the way it goes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely. I mean, I like stuff that has a story too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like Bethany was saying with her, the dresser she grew up with and the mirror she grew up
Yes.
with. And,
Yeah.
it's more special and more important.
Yeah.
And, even in design and stuff, like when I'm pulling artwork, I don't just want like an abstract piece on
Unless-
the wall.
unless
It's like
it's
you
a
want
head-
something that's meaningful.
As long
Yeah.
as it's not a headboard, I don't want a headboard with a story.
Okay.
I'll buy my headboards new.
Hey, that's a good general rule there, Dave.
I made my own headboard. So.
Whoa, that is the You Can Man spirit right there.
And what Molly was talking about earlier. So when Molly came over to record, I gave her a tour because she hasn't been over to our house in like a long time. And so I was showing her all the projects that we've done. And some of the furniture that's in our girls' room was actually my mother-in-law's furniture when she was a girl. And then my wife used it when she was a girl. And now my girls have a house special.
Nice.
And we
There you
just
go.
all have a
Sweet.
collective.
It's
Aw.
beautiful.
Circle of life.
Yeah, so that's what she was talking about. So furniture that has a
Yeah.
story for
Yeah.
sure. And my son has my desk that I had when I was a kid. So anyhow, well, Molly, thank you so much for being our very first female guest.
Woo.
This was incredible having a woman on here. We need to have more women on here. I know we've got a lot of representation on our Facebook group.
We do.
I have another friend of mine that I've got in mind that I would like to have on the show. But that's going to wrap it up for this week. No bonus segment this week, guys. So sorry about that, but we will be back. Dave's got one he's been promising for like a while, but he is yet to
Jeez,
deliver.
man. God,
So
it better be good.
It better be really good. And then my son was recently asking me, he's like, hey, has Josh done any morbid
Yeah, any more
Uh,
death
any-
segments?
Any more morbid ones yet?
All right, I'll pull up
That's
the
your-
next one up. Yeah, we'll
That's
see.
your shtick, man.
My son's at least looking forward to that.
I know a couple of younger male listeners, sons of listeners as well, who the sons love the gore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kids love listening to You Can, man,
it's family friendly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I carpool my daughter and then Josh's son and Dave's son to their kindergarten Monday through Thursday morning. And so I'm with them a lot in the car. And they've gotten in sometimes. They're like, You Can, man.
What's
And then
funny,
Claire's like, no.
I didn't know my kid knew what You Can Man was, but the other night he was like, where are you going? Because he was like going to bed. I'm coming to record. I was like, oh, I'm going to record. And he goes, You Can Man? I was like, well, yeah. How do you know
Yeah.
that?
Come on, Dave.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, I'm introducing
You
your
int-
own
yeah.
son to your own labor of love. I mean, come on. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for joining us this week, and we will catch you guys next time.